Welcome back to Time to Change. I am Jason Forehand, and in the house today, Chef Simon Zatyrka. I got a shout out to Maono. That means vision in Swahili. We want to thank them for the Monocaster and the cool stuff that they have given us. All the equipment that you can't see here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Geo, and all the customer service and the people there that we have met. Thank you for helping out the podcast. Thank you for being so attentive to our needs and supporting Time to Change. Also, want to shout out gifted bipolar writer and guiding brilliant writers. Just absolutely incredible. If you don't know Nick, you really need to take care of that. She is awesome. Nicole Angi Galindo, Nick, we call her. Also want to shout out HR consultations. That's my peeps, my guys that are doing all the fractional work for social good entities. Thank you guys. I love you. And our merch page where we get all the cool t-shirts that you've seen online that we keep showing up. Tisha and Ginger, you two are mad women. I love you to death. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I cannot wait to see you guys in person. But until then, we have Chef Simon Zatyrka in the house. He is the founder of the Culinary Mechanic, also the Culinary Mechanic Podcast.
Yes,
And
sir.
he is also a chapter mentor for the hospitality table of SEN. So let's give it up. Big round of applause for the man.
You're too kind,
Uh,
man. Thank you so much.
I love this one phrase, and I kind of like this is where I want to start. He helps
Okay.
chefs. He helps chefs build their leadership skills so they can develop their people and deliver the financial results without forgetting they have a life outside the kitchen. I could tell you, as someone who spent 45 years in the service industry, that one phrase alone is something that so many restaurants, restaurant groups, chefs, chef owners need to learn. And
Yeah.
man, I want to dive right in with,
Okay.
who is Chef Zatyrka? Give us a little bit about your background and then we'll dive into the culinary mechanic.
Woo, man. Let's see. Ready? Reader's Digest or
Yeah,
Cliff
yeah.
Notes or all those outdated concepts, right? Um, I started cooking in 1989, back when the first George Bush was in the administration, right? Um, I started cooking in a really cool old fashioned hacienda in just north of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it wasn't because I was like obsessed with food. It was because I wanted money, and mom said, "Get a job, boy." And so I got into that, and I love the camaraderie. I love the adrenaline. I love the adrenaline of it all. I mean, so much so that 2 years after I started, I was going to college at the University of Massachusetts, and I just realized that those were not my people, and I really enjoyed being in the kitchens. And I quit school, and mom said real clearly, like, you can quit school and that's cool, but you got to have a plan. And I didn't have a plan, and she held my feet to the fire. And then I said, okay, my plan is I'm going to work in the morning, I'm going to work in the afternoon, I'm going to work at night, and I'm going to cook, and I'm just going to cook until I can't cook anymore. And that's literally what I did from 1992 to my whole life after that. Like, but the next 4 or 5 years, it was just 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, just cooking, cooking, cooking. Finally worked my way up probably 10 years later. Got a sous chef job, working for the Patina Group in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And that was like, that was after some other pretty good ones, but that was like where I started to look around and go, huh, this is really like, this is amazing. And now I'm a sous chef, and here's where it starts to change. I start to have more responsibilities. I start to have to manage employees, and I'm realizing that I can't do it all myself. Like, I could be a workhorse. I could just throw the yoke on and just pull the wagon, but yeah, it only gets me so far. And so really quickly I was on the path of like, okay, I got to learn how to do this. And being a dick works sort of, but not a whole lot. And so just, one job after the next, I got to work for like this amazing chef who was, of all things, a communications major, right? And so he just taught me like like almost like the beginnings of the Jedi mind tricks, just little things you could say to bring people to you, you know? And um and then, you know, I found myself in Northern California and then ultimately Seattle, working my way up all the way through. Um and the most important thing here is that every time I made a move, it was about trying to become a better leader. And by the time I got to Seattle and I spent a couple years here, I got in with a group, and it was when I got there, it was just opened their fifth restaurant. Shortly after, they were going to open up their sixth restaurant, and I became a part of what they were calling their corporate team. So I got to oversee 3 units, and here's where it began. I'd already burnt myself out once or twice in my life, and now I'm working and I'm seeing these folks, and we are moving at the speed of light. I mean, we're
Yeah.
doing Mexican and Southwestern food, and it's just turn and burn. The joke is not how, if you're going to get full or when you're going to get full; it's how many hours you're going to stay full on any given day. And it was it taught me, like, not only do you have to lead, you have to inspire, you have to teach, you have to mentor, and you have to have a plan that goes beyond tomorrow and the next week, and it's about succession planning. And so all of those things led to me getting to mid 2022, and saying, you know, 33 years is a good run. I've done a lot of great things. I'm proud of the people that I've helped to develop, and I started counting on my toes. Took off my fingers and took off my socks and counted on my toes and realized I've developed like close. I've helped to develop more than 150 people over my career,
Well,
right? And that's just the ones that I can really like take direct credit for. Like, I know that there's people in the shadows that got to be around me as I was bringing other people up, and so I realized I really have a passion for developing people and helping people understand like what it is to be a leader. And it doesn't have to be like that guy at the top. It's more about leadership, what I call leadership from the ground up. So that's where I'm at right now, man. That is the basis of what Culinary Mechanic is just taking care of some of those pieces that are not just the food in a chef's work.
I love that. And I love how I've heard you speak before, and I kind of binge watch a little bit of your podcast earlier today too. And I was like, you know, I love how your perspective has changed, or maybe it never changed, but it got more passionate about the people end of it and about how you develop people. And in that process, I want to know if you found this out because it took me a while, probably much longer than you, because I was working through addiction. But I found in the process when I really started honing in and working with people and cared about them and poured into them, I was impacted as well. And I'm wondering if there's a story you could share around that where you were really impacted because of the work that you did with other people.
I think, well, first of all, real fast, yes, there was a huge shift for me from like when first started. I like to tell people I came for the job, and I stayed for the food and the chaos, and I lasted because of the people.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the number one shift. Um, a change in me. You know, I think that I think this will answer the question. I used to work with a sous chef named JJ, and JJ was younger. He was probably 21 when I got to him, and he'd already been a sous chef for like a year, maybe even 2 years. And I said, JJ, you are amazing, but I need you to manage more and do less. And he said, yes, chef, no problem. And so he was one of my 4 units at the time. And so I said, all right, man, I'll see you in a couple days. Rolled out, came back in, watching service, watching him run around, and he's just a machine. He's in the prep kitchen. He's helping the dishwasher. He's over here. He's over there. He's running the line. He's over here. And I said, JJ, I really need you to teach more. I need you to manage more and do less. And he said, yes, chef, I got it. And I was like, okay. And he looked me in the eye and he gave me everything he had, right? Just right in
Yeah.
that moment. And so once again, I leave and I came back like maybe it was 3-4 days later this time. And this time I said, I'm watching him and nothing's changed. And I said, JJ, really, like you need to be doing less, man. You're not influencing the way I need you to be. I need you to manage less. And I caught myself in the middle of saying that. And I stopped. And he was fidgeting and he wanted to go back on the line. And I said, wait, come here. Look me in the eye. I said, do you know what I mean when I say manage more? He says, I have no fucking idea, chef.
But I'm gonna say yes, chef.
Yes, chef. Every time. Now,
Oh,
here's what I learned from that. Just because I have an idea, just because I'm passionate about my idea, doesn't mean that it always comes through,
yeah.
right? And just because I move at the speed of light doesn't mean it goes through. So what I learned is sometimes, and this is the real big one for me, sometimes you got to stop, slow down, and put it back in first gear. And the phrase that I've heard too many times in the last 18 months, but it really, really like sums it up for me is meet them where they are. And that was my call to really stop and go, who am I dealing with? Not just what do I have to offer, what can I impart to you, but what do you need from me? And that was the biggest change. And I hope that answers the question.
No,
But
it's really good, and I love the story. How many JJs are out there in the world, and I have no idea, but I'm so eager to, like, do the things, and yeah,
I
it's
think the big thing for me is how many I worry at this point in my life. How many times did I get somebody's complicity without catching it? Right? Like, and so I really work now to make sure that every time I'm talking to somebody, and I talk a lot across these screens. I really I double check. Like, is that sinking in? Do you feel that all the way down to your skin? And if they don't say yes, then we back up.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, let's take a step backwards.
Yeah.
I agree with you. There's a lot of phrases that you hear all the time, and people will use them to death, but there is some magic to understanding your people to the core level where you're not gonna treat JJ like Sally or Ben or someone else that may be in your units.
Yeah.
You understand where JJ's coming from, how he learns, how he grows, and what he's gonna need. What tools does he need from you in order to really thrive? And that's the change. I think once you really hone in on people and figure out what it is that makes them tick and what
Mhm.
they need to really grow, then you start to grow because you're becoming a better leader because you're becoming a better communicator and you're becoming better at dialing in. And I think it just automatically like hones us to do the things that we need to do. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love it. Hey, I'm curious because when I was on the podcast, I had never heard of the Heritage Radio Network. So, I mean, is that for just a group of podcasts, or is that something local to you, or how did you get
No,
on the
so
Heritage Radio Network?
uh dumb luck.
I'll that's a
No,
fair
here's
answer.
it's the honest truth. So Heritage Radio Network, uh, I would say that they are 15 to 20 years old at this point.
Wow.
They're out of New York City. There's some pizza place called Loretta's down there, maybe. And they were known for like recording in some back room, sort of ramshackle studio sort of thing. And they've gone through this like The real big one was Andrew Friedman, and he did Andrew Talks to Chefs, and I first heard that 10 years ago. And he's just been interviewing chefs from all around, largely New York City. He'll go on the road sometimes, and he's no longer with them, but he's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Recently, they had a big change in leadership all the way around, and so they were looking for new people, and so they're, I don't know what he was. He's like the lead chair of the board of directors, whatever that is, right? One of the top dogs. He sends me a message and he goes, "I've been listening to your podcast and I dig how you're real and it's real, and I think that that's what's needed with this kind of podcast, and I'd love to talk to you about coming to Heritage." And I was like, okay. And so I'm lobbed in with some podcasts that are doing really well, like Dana Cowan from Food and Wine. He's
Wow.
got a podcast on there, and there's some other folks who, they're like, these are people with some big followings, and mine is not that big, so it's kind of neat. I'm like, oh, I'm playing at the big kids table.
No, that's
Um,
so awesome.
yeah, so it's just given me the opportunity to, like, I've been doing a little bit of outreach around, just getting on other podcasts, some of those other podcasts, and some of them are like, I just listen to them. I'm like, wow, I have so much to learn. And a lot of that is production, right? It's like, content is good. I love what I get to do with Culinary Mechanic, which for me is really just talk to others and understand at the end of the day that, like, running a restaurant, dealing with, like, food is food, restaurants are restaurants, people is people. It doesn't matter, like, what part of the universe you go, it's the same stuff, man.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Tell us about the Leadership Reset digital course that you have.
So this is something in the making, and it all comes from the fact that I decided to name what it is I do within Culinary Mechanic, the advisory, the leadership reset. Because what it feels like for me is we are at a space in the world of restaurants that costs have never been higher. It's never been harder to find great help. We even are suffering from a little bit of this um, intellectual gap of chefs. Like, the Michelin star guys and gals, they're up on this top rung,
Huh.
and there seems to be an okay flow of, like, talent into those venues, but you go down into fine dining, but maybe not the finest of dining. And all of a sudden, we get to this place where there's a whole lot of folks who are cooking great food, but their leadership isn't great. Their businesses are struggling in this middle category. And this is not just the United States. This is Canada. This is the UK. I even talked to a guy in Antwerp, and he's talked about the same thing. The middle rung of restaurants are struggling. So for me personally, leadership is the lever to pull when it comes to getting things on track, right? Like, to when you talk about mental health and you talk about somebody who's going down the road of depression or burnout or suicide, if we could press pause in their world, help them get some structure before they go down that road, like, it makes the whole world go round. Like, when you start to
Yeah.
communicate better with your team and you start to have a cadence of, we're going to meet every day for 2 minutes and do a huddle or a pre-shift or whatever you want to call that, or what is the group that calls them an alley rally, right? When you begin to have regular communication, regular accountability, all of a sudden, like, this big flywheel starts to happen and so for me, again, going all the way back, it's like, this is what I want to do. I want to help chefs. I want to help the people that employ those chefs, whether they be a restaurant group, a hotel group, an independent restaurant owner, to understand that leadership is the profit lever, right? Not only
Yeah.
is it great for structure and does it make the food come out a little faster, but you make more fucking money when your team is set and rocking. It just is, man.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so I'm taking the things that I work with my chefs on. my clients, and I'm putting that into, like, I'm boxing that up as far as I can do it into small short videos that are somewhere between 40 seconds and about 90 seconds, because that's the way we learn right now. That's what is really popular. And so just trying to put that together. And so I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know what that's going to look like cost wise. I think that I may offer it at a fairly low price, and I may even give it away and go, here, man, like, if this helps you, cool. And then if there's stuff I can help you with, then come talk to me. Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, to be perfectly honest with you.
No, I got you. And I love the idea. More things for the tool kit and for the
Yeah, man.
toolbox and,
Yeah, man.
to hammer stuff out. How can people get in touch with you?
The easiest, most simple way is culinarymechanic.com.
Perfect.
You can email me directly, and it's simon@culinarymechanic.com. No mysteries, I promise. I'm all over LinkedIn. I'm
Yeah,
on Instagram as culinary.mechanic. If you know, I'm pretty easy to find.
good.
But
Well, we'll include all your links, when the show
nice.
comes out, and, yeah, I will make sure that people find you from our network and others around that are watching the show or kinda sniffing around in the outskirts. They'll share it with other people, which I love. So,
Awesome.
that's always fantastic. Man, great to have you on the show. I appreciate it. We have been talking to Simon Zatyrka, the culinary mechanic, and he's been here on Time to Change. Thank you for being here, Chef. We appreciate you. I cannot wait
Yes,
to
sir.
talk to you more about other things. And I will be back with you with our co host in the house. She's traveling today, Dr. Melissa Robinson Weinmiller. I hope you are doing well. And we will catch you next time. Thanks for being on the show.